Seven-time world champion Lewis Hamilton finished 5th in the season-opening Bahrain Grand Prix, over 50 seconds behind race winner and arch-rival Max Verstappen. It was a sobering outcome for Hamilton, who had complained prior to the race that Mercedes was headed in the wrong direction and that they were either the third or fourth fastest team on the grid. Hamilton has since blamed Mercedes engineers for not paying enough attention to his critiques last season. According to Hamilton, the team disregarded his advice, and the 7-time champion now demands an apology and an admission that their current strategy is flawed. The British superstar emphasized that he understands what a car needs and that he had previously pushed Mercedes in the right direction to address the issues. He told the BBC's Checkered Flag podcast, "Last year, I told them the issues that are with the car. Like, I've driven so many cars in my life, so I know what a car needs. I know what a car doesn't need, and I think it's really about accountability. It's about owning up and saying, yeah, you know what? We didn't listen to you. It's not where it needs to be, and we've got to work. We've got to look into the balance through the corners, look at all the weak points, and just huddle up as a team. That's what we do. We're still multi-world champions, you know, it's just they haven't got it right this time. They didn't get it right last year, but that doesn't mean we can't get it right moving forwards." The comments are among the most inflammatory from Hamilton since Mercedes' struggles began last year. The assertions also seem to contradict the no-blame culture at Mercedes, which team boss and part owner Toto Wolff has previously opened up on. Wolff emphasized that the team would be switching to a new concept after conceding defeat after qualifying on Saturday. Although the team believed they could resolve their problems by sticking to the plan, the chief acknowledged that the team made a fundamental mistake with their design direction last season. With speculation raging about Hamilton's future with the team along with other key staff members, the team released a letter addressed to the fans on Saturday morning in an apparent attempt to calm the situation. The letter states, "Bahrain hurt. It hurt each one of us who head in every season determined to fight for world championships. It hurt the team as a whole after pouring so much hard work into a car that hasn't met our expectations. We've been open and searingly honest about where we find ourselves, and we are working urgently and calmly to build our recovery plan, focusing on what needs to happen short-term, medium-term, and long-term to win. We already have developments in the pipeline for the next races, and there will be more to come. But this won't be the work of a moment. There are no silver bullets in F1. Hamilton has repeatedly stated his desire to continue racing for Mercedes in Formula 1 beyond the end of this season, which is when his current contract expires. Both the 38-year-old and Wolff had previously suggested agreeing an extension would be a formality, but the team's apparent failure to provide him with a championship contending car for a second straight season has led to speculation over whether he could choose to retire or look for a move elsewhere. After Wolff revealed in Bahrain that the team had acknowledged their current concept will not work, there is also a lot of interest in how Mercedes will move forward with the development of their W14 car. In the team's post-Bahrain Grand Prix debrief video, trackside engineer director Andrew Chauvelin suggested changes that did offer potential gains could be imminent, but he agreed with Wolff that the extent of changes that are actually required might be a much longer project. He also made a suggestion that the distinctive minimal side pods might be replaced with a style that would be more akin to the competition. People have tended to use the word concept when they mean the side pod design, and Toto had said recently that we are looking at a revision that is going to come along in the next few races anyways, said Chauvelin. Given the gap to the front, of course, we are going to look at bigger departures and more radical changes, but those changes take time to turn into a faster solution in the wind tunnel. You can't do them overnight. There's quite a lot of development that you've got to do around any sort of big change in geometry in that area. Of course, we are looking at where we can improve the car. We are looking for potential to develop, and you will see visible changes coming on the car over the next few races. Mercedes must identify the root of the performance problems, and just because the side pods are different, it doesn't mean that the losses are coming from there. Instead, it's much more likely to be found where the underfloor, side pods, and rear of the car interact. The problem is unmistakably aerodynamic, that much is certain. This is because the Mercedes vehicle's mechanical components are identical to those of the Aston Martin, leaving the problem areas to be the airflow that passes over the front wing, through the front suspension, down the side pods, and underneath the floor. That is a huge area to cover, and it goes beyond simply changing the side pods, since the team will need to relocate the radiators and mounting points, in addition to the fact that the floor shape is somewhat determined by the side pods. Even changing the side pods can frequently necessitate a fundamental redesign. But while the engineering team will be working incredibly hard in the background to get the W14 back into winning contention, the politics of F1 cannot be ignored. According to Sky Sports F1 host Simon Lazenby, Lewis Hamilton has been warned that things will change if George Russell defeats him for a second consecutive season. Russell became just the third teammate to defeat Hamilton in the standings last year by finishing 35 points ahead of the F1 legend. Mercedes blamed the deficit to Russell on setup experiments, while team boss Toto Wolff played down Russell's achievements at the end of the year. Lazenby believes that Russell's season last year was the result of everything coming together, which is how he managed to surpass his more seasoned teammate in the standings. But the broadcaster has asserted that it might not be so easy to cover for Hamilton again in 2023. I think everything combined in that Lewis probably wasn't as motivated as he could have been in the first half of the year. They worked together to develop the car, George was desperate to prove himself, so I think it was a combination of factors Lewis Hamilton was beaten. This year, I think if it happens again, it might be a slightly different story. I've never seen Hamilton look more physically fit, I've never seen him more determined. The former Williams driver finished all but 3 races in the top 5 with his consistency vital to his success. The 25-year-old enjoyed a head start as he secured podiums while Hamilton struggled to find a quick fix. However, Russell's success was not purely down to luck, as he secured the team's only win of the season in Brazil. Russell started 2023 on a positive footing after beating Hamilton over the first qualifying session of the season. He was 6th quickest in Bahrain on Saturday, ahead of Hamilton in P7. He fell behind Hamilton during the course of the race though, but Lazenby notes that it is still surprising to see Russell performing so well against his more seasoned teammate. As he said, "I think yes, we were surprised on the one hand that Lewis got beaten by a teammate. I think it's only Button and Nico Rosberg who have done it in the past. But we all know how talented George is, how hard he works, how determined he has been to get to the top. Mercedes will work to resolve the situation as soon as possible to avoid resentment building, especially with speculative rumors swirling that Hamilton may be eager to leave the team in search of his 8th career championship. Though Mercedes are not alone in being on the cusp of a major crisis, with Ferrari also reportedly experiencing several internal problems, Charles Leclerc is said to have been most disappointed with the team's poor performance last weekend, and is frantic to speak with top executives to address the situation and learn how the team plans to catch up to Red Bull. Things could go from bad to worse too, with several engineers reportedly handing out their resumes to rival teams in hopes of exploring new options following the imminent exit of aerodynamics chief David Sanchez. What do you think of Lewis Hamilton's warnings to the Mercedes team? Will they ultimately find a way to return to the front? Is it possible that Hamilton could leave for another team? Please let us know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed our work, consider liking, subscribing, and clicking the bell icon to be notified of new videos. Thank you for watching.